we've never heard that story before because
Right.
neither Janet or Justin have talked about that.
No.
Even more reason to be I despise Justin Timberlake even more that he couldn't do, you know what I mean? 17 years later, and then he apologized just this year.
And she said during the conversation with Sharon Osbourne, she didn't want to escalate things because she thought she was having a conversation with her friends. But she also knew she had to be an example for others to follow because she didn't want to be perceived as the angry Black woman.
I mean, that is BS.
She said she had to remain calm and remain
That is
focused.
BS that she has to
bear that.
that she has to bear that. Exactly.
Right, exactly. So.
Okay, so Julia,
Lori had to send me something on
yeah.
Saturday morning, first thing. Or maybe it was a Friday. Was it Friday night or was it Saturday morning? I love it when you send me the updates because you're like, oh, here we go.
It was Saturday morning. So there's this stylist by the name of Wayne Scot Lukas who has a book that he's shopping called Wardrobe Malfunctions, Receipts from the Front Lines and the Front Row. And he doesn't have a publisher, but man, I hope he does after this story hit page 6 this weekend. So he is the one, he styled Janet and Justin Timberlake for the 2004 Super Bowl appearance. And he said that Timberlake insisted on doing something bigger than their performance. He wanted some kind of a reveal because that same year, Britney Spears, Madonna, and Christina Aguilera,
Kissed.
or it was the year before, but
it was only months earlier.
Months earlier. In the fall, did the kissing at the MTV Video Music Awards, where Madonna kissed Britney very long and lovingly and lingeringly, and then a brief peck to Christina Aguilera, which told us lots of things about the. But anyway, that's
probably how Christina Aguilera has always felt.
Yeah. So Wayne Scot Lukas told us the original concept was for Janet Jackson to be in a pearl G-string G-string
underwear,
inspired by the one Kim Cattrall had worn in an episode of Sex and the City,
underneath a pink skirt.
Yes,
for the Super Bowl.
And Wayne said the original concept was that, and Janet was going to be he'd already selected a Roca dress, and Justin was going to step on the back of her dress to reveal just the lower part of her butt and the G-string that was going to, and it was going to kind of be this little naughty moment. Okay?
Right.
But the outfit changed a couple days before the event, and she had like a corset on, sort of it actually looked like a latex corset, and that was meant for one of the cups to be ripped off, and then she was going to have this big
nipple pedal.
Looked like a star.
Yeah.
Looked like a big star.
Yep.
And Justin Timberlake, when he talked about it later, he infamously, labeled the incident a wardrobe malfunction. And so Wayne Scot Lukas, the stylist, said, I wouldn't call it a wardrobe malfunction in a million years. It was the most functioning wardrobe in history. As a stylist, it did what it was intended to do, but he ripped off more.
He ripped off 2 layers instead of 1.
Yeah. And so we've never heard that story before because neither Janet or Justin have talked about that.
No.
Even more reason to be I despise Justin Timberlake even more that he couldn't do, you know what I mean? 17 years later, and then he apologized just this year. I feel for Jessica Biel that she wants to be with him. He would be, I don't like him at all. And maybe that's also why Janet was as cool and classy and collected as she was, because she also knew that it was supposed to just be this reveal, so she was in on it. So anyway, but Wayne Scot Lukas says he doesn't have any more tidbits he's going to reveal about Janet. She's his friend, and she's one of the loveliest people I've ever worked for. Nothing shady about her. Thank you for the shady tea about Justin.
I've got shade on other people.
Oh, yeah. And then he worked with Tina Turner. He has an axe to grind with Donatella Versace, who recently honored the rock and roll legend in British Vogue magazine to promote the HBO Tina documentary.
Right.
In the issue, Versace claims she and her brother Gianni created a lingerie-style mini dress made from crystal mesh, kind of a famous dress of Tina Turner's.
Right.
And she said they made that for her when she performed in Milan in May 1997. According to the stylist, Tina hated Versace. She was loyal to Giorgio Armani. And I actually designed the famous $75,000 credit or dress that they took credit for and convinced Tina to wear it. And Donatella's been lying about it for years.
Love this.
Another bombshell, he said, is the sad ending to his best friend, makeup artist Kevin Aquan's life.
Remember that?
He would have been, this would have been in the 80s that he was really huge. He
died. Was, no, Lori, it's later than that because we went,
90s?
it was the 90s and early 2000s even because remember we bought some of his makeup when we were at, what's the big store? Barney's in New York. I bought 2 different things, an eyeshadow and a brow thing by Kevin Aquan, and then you couldn't buy it anymore.
Right.
A brow pencil.
He said not one celebrity showed up for his funeral, not Liza Minnelli, not Gwyneth Paltrow, not even Cher. No one was there for him when he was dying. He died of AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
There were maybe 6 of his celebrity friends and his family at the funeral. It was very, very sad. So
I feel like this is going to be a good, juicy book.
Do it. I think that people are interested.
Yeah.
And it just...
It made you cringe. I know it made you cringe more about
even less of Justin Timberlake, and
I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, Jinx, Rocco.
I heard that.
Okay, the talk came back today.
All right,
it did. Old talk.
All right, but we both taped it.
Yes,
we both taped it, and apparently it started off with Sheryl Underwood talking like behind the scenes, like they were getting ready to go out on stage, and she said it's time for an episode of the talk that'll be different than anything we've done before. As you may know, during our break, Sharon decided to leave the talk. We need to process the events of that day and what happened so we can get to the healing. So they had some experts on today to help them talk about it. And
but they got rid of the person who's the problem.
Right.
But they
as a team wanted to talk about race and talk about some other things that are going on. So they talked about that today.
Watch that.
But here's the big unanswered thing that we've been sitting with is that Sheryl Underwood said that Sharon Osbourne had not apologized to her. And then Sharon Osbourne last week showed us some text messages that she had sent to Sheryl Underwood, a woman she'd worked with for 11 years on the talk, saying, oh, I did too. I've apologized to Sharon, blah, blah, blah. So there was 2 different stories out there. So here it's been confirmed today, though.
But to me, an apology that isn't given out loud...
A text message. Well, here's what she said. Here's what she said. She said, Sheryl Underwood previously claimed that Osbourne never apologized to her in private following their heated exchange, but Osbourne came forward with alleged screenshots that showed texts that Underwood didn't answer. And Sharon Osbourne went on to say, I not only sent these messages to Sheryl, but I apologized to her in person in her dressing room after the show that day. Why are you saying I never apologized, Sheryl? What are you trying to do to me? And Sheryl Underwood basically confirmed she did get the text, but she didn't answer because she didn't know if she was allowed, given the internal investigation taking place at the show. So she didn't know because they tell you don't talk to anyone.
Right.
You know, we've been under these things. You can't talk to anyone. You can't talk to your colleagues. You can't say anything. It's everyone. They have to wait
when
till
somebody gets let go suddenly and then the show is shuttered.
Yes.
Because of an investigation. Yeah.
You can't talk to anybody.
Sealed lips.
Right. And especially if it's the person that is under investigation is sending you text, you will not respond to any of those.
And if I were Sheryl Underwood after the show, after Sharon Osbourne was such a condescending white woman.
Yes.
Okay. And she wanted to apologize to me, I would have been too upset and pissed to hear a thing. And I would have just put up my hand and just said, I can't talk to you right now.
Right. And she revealed today, Sheryl Underwood basically said that she had PTSD since that event. And she felt like it was trauma. She feels like it was just trauma. I feel like I want to get past this because I really want to get back to work with my friends and colleagues and crew, but we have to talk about it.
Well, that's because it was shown so many times and it dominated the entertainment news cycle. And she really didn't. A bit.
And she said during the conversation with Sharon Osbourne, she didn't want to escalate things because she thought she was having a conversation with her friends, but she also knew she had to be an example for others to follow because she didn't want to be perceived as the angry Black woman.
I mean, that is BS.
She said she had to remain calm and remain focused.
That is BS that she has to
bear that.
That she has to bear that. Exactly.
Right, exactly. So anyway, I think it's an emotional day. We both taped it. We'll tell you about it tomorrow. But I
did like that Elaine, who
one of the other
Elaine
hosts.
Welteroth, she's new this year.
Yes.
She and Amanda Klutz. And
she's
the one from Teen
Mhm.
Vogue. And she's the one that formed the formal complaint with CBS that day.
Yep.
She and her stylist, because she said there's been all kinds of BS going on. But she said on the show, she said, Sharon went off the rails into disrespect. And that was so difficult for us. So I thought, all right, I'm curious.
I can't even imagine her after the show was done taping. Sharon.
Well, I'm sure that she was realizing she was trying to apologize in her posh British accent, thinking it would sound better, but people were genuinely
upset,
stunned.
Yeah.
Stunned that
100%.
she had such a temper tantrum defending somebody that I don't even know that she knew what she was defending him for. To me, I felt like Sharon Osbourne never paid one bit of attention to the vile things that Piers Morgan was always writing and saying about Meghan Markle. So she was defending something she didn't even
care about.
She didn't even care about. She just was like, this is my friend and you can't say bad things about him, you know?
Right.
And CBS again said the notion that they paid her $5 to $10 million is false, inaccurate, or untrue. Take your pick.
So D for all the above.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Listen.